can you hear me? Today there are many, many meetings going on. We've got the Green Party with their organizing of campaigns. We've got various other people that are in Water Watch and Water Keeper groups. We've got municipal council meetings where people like to attend these secret little things. We've got a protest going on right now at Goldstream where Langford has decided to take a $25 million bit of money and lend it to the developers of Bear Mountain so that they can make that Spencer interchange. It's borrowed at a lesser percentage. It's borrowed over something like 30 years. Do we know if that developer is going to be around to pay it back? These things are happening not just in BC, they're happening in Alberta, Manitoba, all across Canada. There are private interests moving into the common good. Now, long ago, when I went to school, we were taught that in the beginning, before even we had records, there were people inhabiting North America. Then we had visitors who came for an extended stay. Spaniards, British, French, I'm missing one. Portuguese, and some stayed, some went. Then we had some sort of a colonial rule, and there's our British connection in Canada and our French connection. So another layer of people came. Now, colonial rule, let's just take a little definition of imperialism. The development of foreign trade and exploitation of raw materials of backward countries through the use of political and military pressures without necessarily assuming direct political control of the nations affected. That's still happening. Flash forward 2008. What have we got going on? Security and Prosperity Partnership, which is part of a NAFTA. But NAFTA wasn't working well enough for corporations. We're having all kinds of lawsuits going on. Canada has paid out millions of dollars. Mexico has paid out millions of dollars. The US has paid out, in the last figure I saw, nothing. Now, when we start looking at all of these big world trade organizations, we've got at the top the World Trade Organization. We've got the IMF, the World Bank, the United Nations, GATS, MAI, TRIPS, Agreement on Agriculture, and the non-agricultural multilateral agreement. We've got the Conference of Foreign Relations, which is part of the US push. We've got the United States Chamber of Commerce, and we've got the Canadian Chamber of Commerce. Then in Canada, we've got the AIT, we've got SPP, and we've got TILMA. The United States also has the NAFTA with us, and they have the SPP as well. Now, when you've got huge organizations with enormous amounts of money in those multinational corporations, what do you do when the elites, the people who you don't see, they're behind a cloud, are putting in money which they get from their multinational corporations into these talks? Where are the commons? Where are the people, the citizens, who are going to be affected by all this? Have you ever been invited to a talk that's at any sort of level which has teeth? Has anyone? I haven't, not even in my municipality. So we have a lot of work to do. Maud Barlow was asked to go to the Standing Committee on International Trade in the House of Commons on Tuesday, May 1st of 2007, and she laid it out straight. She said NAFTA has an opening for the sale of our water. We must close that. She said that it is a myth that Canada has 20% of the world's water. We may have something like 6%, and that is in jeopardy. Victoria, of all places, look at our water system and what we are doing with our water. She is saying that we have to watch our water, we have to watch our groundwater, we have to make sure we do not privatize none of these partnerships. Because what happens is, with a public and private partnership, and it is documented all around the world, the private sector will bring in money some of it is public money, but they bring it in, they invest with the public, and then as long as there's cream at the top, they stay in there. When the cream gets slim and there's just ordinary milk, you can suck that up because they're gone. Now, you either will be leasing back something, or the company will just leave, or it will go bankrupt. There is just no way of getting these things back again. They are jiggered. Maud Barlow, in her book, The Global Water Crisis and the Coming Battle for the Right to Water, outlines all of those organizations and the deals they make. She outlines the huge multinational corporations that are into water as an investment, and that's what the SPP is all about. Trade and investment. And military is coming in through the security aspect. I remember listening to CBC a while back, I don't know how many, a couple years back, there was an RCMP out of uniform driving with his little baby son along the highway just going into Hope, and he was stopped by a Texas trooper. And the RCMP looked and couldn't believe, who are you? Let me see your license. Well, who are you? I want to see your license. He showed him his license. And then, as soon as he left, he went straight to his detachment and said, "What's going on?" I never heard an upshot to that announcement. In fact, CBC in the last half a year has been getting a little bit better about giving us news, but you notice you might have to be up at 4 o'clock in the morning to hear it, and it'll be said once. And if you try to find it to see if there's any follow-up, it's gone. You may as well put a tape recorder on your radio, because you won't be able to find it again. Now, we've got to go and say, you may have a cartel on our news media, but you have to talk to us about what's going on in Canada. And I don't want a partial slip. I don't want something from the Chamber of Commerce. And I don't necessarily need it from the far left only. I need a well-rounded, and I need announcement, and I need context behind it. Because people who haven't heard of this before don't understand the huge ramifications of what they're saying. There has to be a context. Push for it. Anytime you hear something on CBC that you are angry about, you write to CBC, copy Ombudsman at CBC. The Ombudsman will make sure that you get an answer, and if you're not satisfied with the answer, go right back to the Ombudsman. He is getting a little bit more power lately, because a lot of people have been saying, look, we know the government's tying you up. What's going on? Okay, Introspection Canada, are we clean in the world? Truth Out certainly knows. Canada Action Party knows, Green Party knows, NDP knows. We've got our CPP is investing and has been investing in armaments for a long time. Canada is producing armaments. We are also buying millions of dollars of arms from the US. I looked under the US sales in the military section. We're buying millions every year. I thought, we must be laundering this stuff. How can we be buying? What are we doing with it? Well, we're in Iraq, but we are the coalition of the invisible. We are in, of course, Afghanistan. And if we had a prime minister that cared and was a fatherly figure to our people in Canada and our sons and daughters going to war, he'd bring them right back. He'd go back to peacekeeping. That's what Canada is used to. But with all of our lifestyles and the media, the commodification of everything, we hardly understand anymore what that Canada was like. Mel Hertig has a book coming out about Canada. It's out in April. Read it. It'll tell you about the banks. Maud Barlow's book, The Global Water Crisis and the Coming Battle for the Right to Water, that's where you get all of your good data on how to put forth an argument against those who claim that prosperity comes with privatization, prosperity comes with making money. You can forget it, because you can't drink money. And so I leave you, fine Canadians who came here today, and please take care of water. No privatization in any way, from municipal all the way up to federal. Thank you very much.